Stan Gibilisco here, ham radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor. Just to show you that the 24 megahertz band is open. It is August 4th, 2013 at 2023 UTC. That would be 2:23 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time here in the Black Hills of Dakota Territory, United States of America. There's the bottom of the band, 24 megahertz. Let's tune up. See what we hear. Nothing. 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 I did hear a station, though, a little while ago. CO8. There he is. CO8LY. That's in Cuba, I believe. He's sending CQ. Now, look, he's pretty strong. He's pretty strong. Now, I just worked him with 10 watts output, and I have an antenna that happens to have a good match. It's nearly perfectly flat 1-to-1 SWR. It's a 12-foot vertical, capacitively loaded on my deck. Well, let's tune up and up and up. That's I think that's a birdie right there. Nothing, nothing. Now, this is a Sunday. It's a weekend. Now, maybe people are outside doing things outside, unlike this nerd sitting down in his cave. Although I did get out a little earlier, so I don't feel too bad about it. Still listening. Still listening. Still going up. Dead. But it isn't dead. It isn't dead at all. The band is open. Now, Cuba isn't all that spectacular. I mean, it's a little further than Florida from here, but it's proof enough to indicate that the band is open. Now, I've got the CW filter on. This IC746 Pro tunes more slowly in CW mode than it does in single sideband, and even more slowly in single sideband mode than it does in AM. So I can control the tuning rate just by punching the mode buttons to get from one band to another, or one shortwave band to another. Well, we're just not hearing any other signal. Now, let's go. This antenna happens to also resonate on the 50 megahertz band. Let's open up the filter to sideband. Now, most of the CW stations on 6 meters seem to hang out around 50.09 for some reason. Nothing. Any phone stations? Now, I'll bet this band is open too. But there's just nobody on it. Now, I could send a CQ. Maybe I'll try that. Let me get down to the CW right around to 50.090. I don't expect to get an answer, but I guess you never really know, do you? Unless you try. That's the whole point. So we need to tune up first. Now, the interesting thing, that's my call sign, W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor. So I don't expect an answer, but it's funny that the transceiver's tuner on this radio is a kind of a finicky thing. This antenna shows a 1.3 to 1 standing wave ratio on the actual feed line itself right now, but the internal tuner for the radio always has trouble getting a match. It does eventually, but it takes quite a while. Then there are other bands like 18 megahertz with my full-size vertical, 22 feet, where the standing wave ratio is 5 or 6 or 7 to 1, and yet the radio matches it right away. Now they say this radio can only match up to a 3 to 1 standing wave ratio, but that's obviously a conservative statement. Sometimes it can match a good deal worse mismatch than that. And this is just the internal tuner of the IC746 Pro. It's too bad, I guess they discontinued this radio. But now there's one other little experiment that I'd like to try, that I always like to try. Now this antenna is not matched on... Whoa! Got blasted. We're on AM mode now. I'll go down to the Citizens band. I'll put her back on sideband so we can hear the carriers if they're there. Check that out. Anything here? There we go. Well, I think that might be a birdie. There's usually quite a lot of signals on here. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe the maximum usable frequency... Well, here we go. A lot of people doing a lot of crazy stuff on this Citizens band, although it seems to be kind of quiet today. A little surprised here with that. This is a Sunday, remember? Maybe the, well, maybe it's just such a nice day all over the country that people are doing other things besides hanging out in their nerd caves on their electronic devices. If so, good for them. Maybe I ought to get out too. I could use a vacation, God knows. Up to Montana or Wyoming. Now what on earth is that? Well, I always check out this band to see, because there's usually quite a lot of activity on there, but not today. Maybe the maximum usable frequency is somewhere between 24 and 27 megahertz. That's a reasonable supposition with sunspot activity the way that it is right now. Kind of finicky, kind of neurotic. Well, with that, I think I'll sign off from the Citizens band, part of the radio frequency spectrum. I don't think I've ever made a single contact on CB, even though I have one in my vehicle. It's useless, basically. There's just nobody uses it for anything serious anymore, it doesn't seem like. Maybe I'm just not on there enough. Right. Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor, signing off from the Black Hills of South Dakota, United States of America, 73. Until next time.